Hey everyone, it's Rob Ryder. Today, till UCC 7, do us part. You can find that in Article 9, Section 501A of the Uniform Commercial Code. Now we'll get to that in a minute. But who owes who? And what if they owe you? So on Sunday, May 20th, 2018, we're going to be working for the Lord in the spirit of cooperation. Rob Ryder is my avatar, and my email address is courtofrecord@aol.com. courtofrecord@aol.com. No S's on court or records, right? And so what is this all about? Well, let's start at the completion, and we'll go back to how we did it. The completion is this, that here, this week, on a UCC financing statement, on the 5/16/2018, at 12:27 a.m., man, I was up early, stayed up late. I made the state of Michigan my debtor. State of Michigan is the organization. The mailing address, 111 S Capitol Ave, Lansing, Michigan, 48933-1555. I made them the debtor of Robert Allen Retluski, 10955 14 Mile Road, No. 3, Rockford, Michigan, 49341-8664. And I did it as an organization. Now, I believe you could do it as an individual. You need to put Retluski here, and then in first personal name, put Robert Allen. Right? Don't have a middle name, don't have an additional name, don't have initials. You got a given name. So if you're going to do it by the individual, you could do it that way. Myself, I did it as an organization, and without going into all the different videos I've done in the past, in case you're watching this one, you've not watched my other videos, I got an EIN number from the IRS as a sole proprietor, just using my name, Robert Allen Retluski, no additions, not as a trustee, not as anything other than the owner, right, as a sole proprietor. And so what the IRS says, to them in law, there is no difference between the business and its owner because they're the same. So if I say it's my business, it's still me. Okay, so what was the collateral? Well, for myself, I put my driver's license number, right? R342-745-051-691, Michigan official state personal identification number. Actually, that's what it is. Of Robert Allen Retluski, date of birth, 5/9/1958. And the exclusive rights, titles, and interest in the same. At the time thinking, whenever they pull you over, they take your card, they go back to their car, and they do whatever they're going to do, right? But it starts with your driver's license number. I call it a driver's license number because in Michigan they have two things that you can get. You can get a Michigan State ID, official personal identification card, or you can get a operator's license. And on the operator's license, that number R342-745-051-691 would say it's my driver's license number. But on my state ID, it just says it's my identification number. It doesn't say it's a driver's license number, but it's the same number. And so, I did UCC filing. Collateral is held in trust. And I picked the alternative designation, licensee, licensor. So in other words, I'm a resident of Michigan. I got their ID. They're holding my property in trust. It's tied to this social security number, or excuse me, it's tied to this driver's license number, but it does include my social security number and anything else there is. But this is the evidence that I'm residing in Michigan. So I am in the United States. Okay, well then at the same time, but afterwards, after Rosita had found it for me again, because we had found this at one time, I did an addendum. So I could have done this at the same time, but I didn't. But I did an addendum where I made the Embassy of the United States of America at 2201 C Street Northwest, Washington, D.C. 20520-0099, my debtor also. And as it turns out, that's the State Department. Right? So I said, well, you're both my debtors. Okay, now if they don't agree with me, so here's the thing, on a UCC filing, as it turns out, if the party doesn't agree with you, they can fill out a fraudulent UCC financing statement affidavit. All right, so the debtor, if they don't believe they're the debtor, they can fill this form out and file it with the Secretary of State. But if they don't file it with the Secretary of State, well, then they're your debtor. That's pretty simple. So I filled it out. Said, well, we'll see if they fill one of these out and send it back. Well, they haven't done it so far. But a few other things have happened that are of interest, so we'll take a look at it. Now, this is actually called a UCC 7, right? I think it says on here. Let's see. Yeah, Form MI for Michigan UCC 7. Technically known as a fraudulent UCC financing statement affidavit. That may be how you have to find it. Because if you just put in UCC 7, it's going to take you to the UCC Act, and you won't be looking at the form, right? So this form. So write that down, fraudulent UCC financing statement affidavit. If you were to find out there was a UCC filed against you, you could put one in and say, if it wasn't true. Okay, so that was that. And real quick again, this is just a UCC filing, making the state of Michigan at a particular address. How did I find this address? What did we do? Well, because you can go to Dun & Bradstreet, and you can do Dunn's numbers lookup, right? So this is just DNB, www.dnb.com, Dunn's number /lookup. Google DNB, Dunn's number lookup, and you'll be at this page. And they gave you a couple of choices where you could be doing your own company or another company. Of course, we're doing another company. And you could do business name or business phone. And since we're not really sure what the business name is, this is the problem. Are they using the proper name, and what's the address and so forth that go with it? Well, if they register with Dunn's, they have to give the legal name of the entity and its headquarters address and some other pertinent information. So I searched on business phone, right? And the phone number I used, because I was doing all sorts of them, right? But I had gone to the governor's website, contact the governor. I said, well, put his phone number in, 517-373-3400. Let's search on it. And hey, State of Michigan, headquarters, 111 S Capitol Ave, Lansing, Michigan, 489331555. I'm going to make that my debtor. But it wasn't the only one. There's also the executive office of the state of Michigan. These are all using the same phone number now, and this phone number came off of the governor's website. To contact the governor, call this number. Well, apparently, if you're contacting that number, these are all the different offices that you could be getting a hold of. All right, so we got executive office of the state of Michigan as a subsidiary. It doesn't have a +4. We got legislative office of Michigan at the George Romney building. Oh, Romney building, that's 111 South Capitol, so it's the same building, using a different address, right? No +4. Now we got another executive office of the state of Michigan, this time with a +4. Hey, that looks sort of like the address that I used for the state of Michigan. And also the judiciary courts of the state of Michigan. So you got the judicial, the executive, and the legislative branch all using the same phone number. Of course, this one says it's out of business, whatever that means. Well, yeah, we don't have any courts. They're out of business. When you go to court, you're really not going to a court of the state of Michigan. You're going to, who knows what it is, Talmudic law. So this is the one I used right here, state of Michigan, right? And I put that on my form right here and made him my debtor. Now, I've gone to other states, and I haven't found that. I haven't really looked at that many, but if you're going to go look for your state, I don't think, now having read all the stuff a little bit closer, that you necessarily have to have the headquarters one. If it was, say, state of, whatever your state is, and it says here that it's a a branch, well, notice to agents, notice to principal, right? I would say just make sure it says state of, whatever, and that would be the one to use. I'm not advocating anybody does this. I'm just saying this is what I did, and this was my thoughts as I did it, and I'm just sharing in the spirit of cooperation. Speaking of which, so now that I had done this, well, big deal. What about it? Although I should cover one other thing since I did it, and I don't know if I'm going to get back to this. Right? There's another one called the Embassy of the United States of America, which that word is too long to put into the DUNS site. So you can't search that way. And if you were to go there now and put this phone number in fact, let's just do that real quick. 301-420. 301-420. 6774. 6774. It come up as Gloria Sims. All right, which say, well, what the heck is that? Who's that person? How does that phone number end up being tied to something called the Embassy of the United States of America? DBA, Department of State. Well, because I couldn't put a long name in, I knew of this thing called the Embassy of the United States of America. Somebody had sent me a DUNS report they had that name on there. So that's cool. Let me go search on that thing. And I couldn't put it into the DUNS site, right, to this site. So I had gone to another site that I have, which is, we'll just do it right now, Cage Code. Cage. Well, come on, man. And this is the site where it says this site is not secure, right? Warning, warning, don't go any further. Rob Ryder, he don't listen too good. I'm going to the website anyways. And this has to do with getting a cage number, which I talked about in my last video. And if you were to read it yourself, you would see that if you get a cage number, the Department of Defense is going to agree that you are doing business at the physical location that you said you are at. And when I was doing all this at the time, forgetting the UCC filings that I'm doing now, that was the idea at the time. Is I'm going to get an EIN number. I'm going to get the post office to agree. I'm going to get a DUNS number so they agree. And as it turns out, I could get a cage code number, and they would agree. And they all agree that Robert Allen Retluski is doing business at 10955 14 Mile Road, Rockford, Michigan 49341. But you can also search and inquire. So I did. Nope, I gotta hit agree. First I have to agree. And so I'm gonna go in here and put in Embassy of the United States of America. As soon as I remember where I was. There we are. Okay, right here. Paste. Let's search. Hey, we get a hit. Cage code 55BP8. I believe that's the same one that I'm using right now. Cage code 55BP8. Yeah, hey, that's the same entity. Let's look at their details. Hey, there's Gloria C. Sims. All right, so the name that showed up in Dun & Bradstreet, Gloria Sims, with that phone number, is actually showing up as the phone number for the Embassy of the United States of America, Department of State, at 2201 C Street Northwest, Washington, District of Columbia, yada, yada, yada. So I use that information there, right? So you could go here and do it yourself. Put in Embassy of the United States of America and search, right? And it's the only one that came up. So, but the cage code is 55 BP8, which is a little bit quicker to use, it should take you to so you can put these people in 2201. In fact, I should check right now, make sure I did that right. 2201 C Street Northwest. 2201 C Street Northwest. Hey, that'd be the same place. Washington, D.C. 20520-0099. 20520-0099. I did do it correctly. Okay, so those are the things I did. Now, what about it? What has come of it, if anything? Again, I just did this on the, what day did they say that was? I just did this one yesterday, or this was just last night. Have a date on there? I don't think it does. On the 14th, or on the 16th. Well, prior to that, back in the end of April, right, I had done a UCC filing on myself, saying that Rutluski Robert Allen, which is an entity that is on my certified copy of record of birth, and I say, well, that isn't me because it's got a comma in it, right? You don't put names, you don't put commas in names, but you do put it in things where they're going to have them indexed by a certain word. And as Rosita had pointed out to me, she had seen before where, in certain places it's like Illinois, comma, state of. Well, that's what this is, right? This is Rutluski, comma, Robert Allen. Okay, it's not me as a living man. It's an organization of some kind. Well, I'm going to say that's my debtor because that's the name that they call the child on my certified copy of record of birth. And I did it myself as being the owner. And at that time, I did it with the record of birth being the collateral. This is the first one I did, right? So I got to close some of these up so I can find them later. Okay, hang on just a second. Okay, so because I had done that with the doing a UCC filing against myself, and that I had previously registered with DUNS to get a DUNS number, which if you're going to get a DUNS number from DUNS and you were to look at the site, you have two choices. The commercial side, 30 days or so to get a DUNS number. Or it says, or if you're going to be getting a DUNS number so that you can contract with the federal government, click here. And if you click there, which is what I did, you end up in a separate section of DUNS, Dun and Bradstreet, government section, under this thing called iUpdate. And so let's see if we started. I gotta. Okay, hang on just a second again. Okay, I had timed out, so now I'm back in. Okay, so you would log into your site and you'd see this page, and there's, this is what DUNS did. I gave it to them as Robert Allen Rutluski. They turned it around to be Rutluski, comma, Robert Allen. I did it as a business, Robert Allen Rutluski. Well, hey, that looks like the same dude that I said was my debtor on the UCC 1 filing I showed. This one? No, wrong one. I guess I closed it already. Okay. I keep closing those as we go. Anyways, the one I showed where it was me with my name backwards. And so then you got this thing here where it says view print company report. And if you click on it, it'll take you to, hey, there's the company again. Says it's a proprietorship, says my history is incomplete. They still want something from me. But you could click on this report. And so I had done this. And as it turns out, the thing is continually being updated. So I just look at the most recent one. This is what it looks like. Now it says that Robert Allen Rutluski is the owner. Occupies premises and building. And location, industrial section on a main highway. I told him I was in rural, right? I have to go back and see what that was about. None of that really matters. This was the thing, right? If you do this, you'll see that if there's any UCC filings against you. So the first time I did it back in April, after that I found out this existed, like on May 1st, 2nd, something like that. And I said, look, there's a notice of bailment. That's what my last video was about. And it says a secured party, Robert A. Rutluski, Rockford, Michigan, was a secured party of a debtor, Rutluski, Robert Allen. Well, this is a UCC filing against my business, Robert Allen Rutluski, which Duns calls Rutluski Robert Allen, which apparently is what it is, because here it shows up that in Kansas, there was a UCC filing against me. And it'll give the filing number. Okay, well, then I did one against myself. And it showed up, right? So this is where I put a UCC filing in against Rutluski Robert Allen, and now it says the secured party is Robert Allen Rutluski, Rockford, Michigan, with that filing number, right? And that's the state of Michigan filing number for the UCC filing that I did. That would be this one here. All right, so this would be the one in Kansas. Anyways, I did the thing you're supposed to with UCC, and I sent to Kansas and gave them the $20 and did all the stuff to try to get the record, and they came back and said there was no record. And what they had done is they took this comma out and they got rid of all the spaces, and they did a search on all them letters run together. Rutluski Robert Allen. I didn't get anything. So I was going to do it again here this last week, and Rosita said, well, look, they gave you the filing number. Just do it as a FOIA. He says, I'm going to go ahead and do it. And I said, well, go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead and do that. Thank you very much. So she did that. And then I printed this out, and I saw, well, hey, this other one's on here. I'll do a FOIA on this one, right, from the one I had done in Michigan. Okay, well, Rosita tried to do a FOIA, and she hasn't gotten an answer. And she did her FOIA back on Monday. I did mine on the 14th, I think it was, which isn't necessarily Monday. Where is that thing at? It's in here. But I got an answer on the 18th, which is 2 days after I put the filing in to make the state of Michigan my debtor. And I'm getting a answer to my FOIA that I had put on the 14th from the Secretary of State, that the Department acknowledges receipt of your request for records and has processed it under the provisions of the Michigan Freedom of Information Act. Your request was received May 14th, 2018. This notice is issued in response to your request. You requested a copy of records incorporated by reference to a filing, filed with the Uniform Commercial Code section, Lansing, Michigan. This request has been granted as to existing non-exempt public records that are determined to be responsive to your request. Additionally, in the spirit of cooperation, I'd never heard that before from the state, and additionally, in the spirit of cooperation, you can retrieve a copy by logging into Okay, well, that was the answer I got, and Rosita hadn't gotten an answer at all, and she's called them a couple times. They haven't responded back to her. They responded the first time she did, and they said, we need a few days to work on it or something like that. I don't remember the exact words. Well, I got that, so I wrote back and I said, well, thank you for servicing the state of Michigan's debt. Can you please find out for me how to claim my rights, titles, and interests and exclusive use of my land and estates? Your body is your movable land, and your estate is, well, whatever Jesus left you. The incorporeal hereditaments. Mr. Ritlewski, I have fulfilled my obligation as Michigan Department of State FOIA coordinator with the information you originally requested. Unfortunately, we have no further information concerning your current inquiry. Well, this time Michael wasn't doing it in his official capacity, right? This was in black and this is in blue. You know that blue isn't official, right? Black is the official color. Black, black, black. Why? Because black can be made out of carbon, and you put carbon on paper, it'll be there, right? You mix a blue pigment, and it will fade over time. They don't use blue on official documents. They use black. Okay, so I haven't done anything with this yet, but I'm going to probably write them back and say, well, notice to agents, notice to principal. Why don't you go ask the Secretary of State if she knows how to get my stuff? That was the plan on Friday, right? When I got this. But I had another interesting email come. And I'm going to have to take a minute to find it. Hang on a second. Okay. So on the 18th, today is Sunday, the 20th. So the 18th is Friday. The Michigan Department of Treasury created this letter and sent it to me, my business tax registration information letter, because I have registered Robert Allen Ritlewski 10955 14 Mile Road Northeast, Rockford, Michigan 493418664, with the Department of Treasury to pay my taxes as a business. Now, not that I have to pay any taxes because I'm the end user, right? In a sale, I'm the one buying or paying the tax. The other person's collecting it, right? I'm not doing any of this to go out and make money. I have money. I have an account. I have a trust account someplace. I just want access to it. And when I have access to it, I'll be using it to purchase things. Well, when you're buying things retail, you've participated in commerce. When you send a letter, you've participated in commerce. When you participate in any kind of intercourse, you participated in commerce. It's in the definition. And so, okay, then I need to register my business with the tax man to say, hey, this is my business. And they have forms they want you to fill out quarterly. But they're for people that collect taxes. Right? Not for those that pay them, for those that collect them. And again, I'm not collecting any tax. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. I'm just a buyer. I'm an end user. I'm a consumer. I paid the tax, right? But I want Caesar to know I'm in his books. That's why I had done this and got the UCC number, or got the EIN number and so forth. And this is just a continuation that I'm doing now on all these different things I had done. But I had forgotten I had done this one step here, which I did back in like January, which is causing this letter to be sent to me that says, we have received the authorized representative declaration power of attorney, Form 151. We have updated your account accordingly. To make further changes to your account, do this, da-da-da-da-da. And I said, well, okay. And so I'm sitting here, I get this, I said, well, I know I did something. Why would I be getting this now? Okay. Hey, I'm getting it because I made the state of Michigan my debtor. I think that's why I'm getting it. So what did I do? That was the thing. Now, what did I do back then? And I went and I found the paperwork I did, authorized representative declaration, taxpayer or debtor information, which is me as my business. For whatever reason, I couldn't get it to go in here the way it was supposed to. Because this is an online form you can fill out. But I did it as Robert Allen Ritlewski, right, with my address, but it was with my EIN number, not with a Social Security number. My information. I revoke all prior authorities. I will represent myself. And then I turned around and said, okay, well, now I'm going to have somebody else. Your representative may be an entity or an individual. If you designate an entity, you must also provide an individual as a contact. And so I made mine the Department of Attorney General. And so what they're saying is that they have filed this into my business account, saying that the Attorney General is now my representative. Right? So instructions. Use this form to authorize the Michigan Department of Treasury to communicate with a named individual or entity acting on your behalf. Also use this form to designate a representative to receive copies of correspondence regarding a particular tax dispute. All information as required must be supplied for this authorization to be effective. And I'm going to let them receive, inspect information, and make oral or written presentation of fact or argument, but not to sign the returns, not to enter into any agreements, and not all of the above. Taxpayer debtor authorization. Well, that was me. I'm the owner. I did this back on 1/26/18, right? And so I put this in, and I hadn't heard anything, and I kind of forgot about it. So well, I guess that ain't going to work. And now I get this letter saying that they have received and they've updated my account. And so I said, well, let me go look at my account, see what they did. So because I have an account, right, I have a business. And I said, okay, well, where do I see representatives? That would be under here. To authorize another person or business as your representative in tax or debt matters before the state of Michigan. I said, yeah, that's good. Right? Department of the Attorney General. They've been added. So we'll see what that brings next week. But I just appointed them my advocate before the state of Michigan, and the Department of Treasury processed it, so they agreed with me. That's pretty cool. Okay, one more time. Hang on. Okay, I guess I'm gonna leave it with this. Let's just look at a few things that have to do with the Uniform Commercial Code, Article 9. Collateral means property subject to security interest or agricultural lien. The term includes one or more of the following: proceeds to which a security interest attaches, accounts, chattel paper, so forth. What's chattel paper? Records of evidence, both monetary obligation and security interest in specific goods. So just a piece of paper is the title, basically. That's what they're talking about. Right? So the collateral could be the title, interest, so forth and so on. Who's the debtor? A person having an interest other than a security interest or other lien in the collateral, whether or not the person is an obligor. So, what's the debtor? Well, if they're holding your property on deposit, they're your debtor. And I say, well, the state of Michigan's got my account. Right? So, they're my debtor. So I made them one. Extra filing, that wasn't what I wanted. Another 5. Four. Okay. Filing office. Part 5, filing office. So what does it say? Fraudulent financing statement. A person identified as a debtor in a financing statement filed with the Secretary of State may file an affidavit with the Secretary of State in the form prescribed under Section 2, stating that the financing statement is fraudulent. A person shall not file an affidavit under this section with respect to a financial statement filed by a regulated financial institution or representative of a regulated financial institution. Okay, well, other than that, you can, that has more to do with the UCC filing itself, but as far as the affidavit, well, you can file one unless they say that one of these people are the ones that put in the UCC filing, right? The regulated financial institution. Okay, well, they didn't. I put it in. So if they want to, they believe that they can put in a fraudulent financing statement. And the Secretary of State shall adopt and make available form. I showed it to you. The receipt of the affidavit under under Section 1, the Secretary of State shall terminate the financing statement effective on the date the affidavit is filed. So I could file one into Kansas to try to clear up the one that I know is there now, right? This is the thing about doing the DUNS registration is if there's any liens against you, it's going to show up on your DUNS report. And then you could go to that state and file a UCC 7 and have it go away. I'm going to talk to my attorney about it first, right? The Attorney General. Then the next thing, the debtor. Name of the debtor. A financing statement sufficiently provides the name of a debtor if it meets all of the following that apply to the debtor. So, A, except as otherwise provided in subdivision C. Well, what does C say before we go any further? If the collateral is held in trust, that is not a registered organization. Well, I believe the organization is, so C doesn't apply. So, continue in A. If the debtor is a registered organization, State of Michigan, I'd say they're registered, or the collateral is held in trust, that is a registered organization. Well, how about all caps State of Michigan? I still say they're registered. Only if the financing statement provides the name that is stated in the registered organization's, or is stated to be the registered organization's name on the public organic record, most recently filed with or issued or enacted by the registered organization's jurisdiction of organization, well, that'd be the State of Michigan, which purports to state, amend, or restate the registered organization's name. Jeepers, what does all that mean? Well, just look at your Constitution. Constitution of Michigan, 1963. We, the people of the, lowercase the, State of Michigan, grateful to Almighty God for the blessings and freedom, earnestly desiring to secure these blessings undiminished to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution. State of Michigan. They did use the name. All right, so I said, okay, well, that's the name of the debtor. That satisfied Section A, so I can use that name. It's the name that is stated to be the registered organization's name on the public organic record. Well, I'd say that's the Constitution. Most recently filed with or issued or enacted by the registered organization's jurisdiction. Well, I'd say that's the State of Michigan, jurisdiction of organization, which purports to state, amend, or restate the registered organization's name. And Rosita said that she found out that the Secretary of State is the one that's the custodian of a copy of the state's Constitution. So, right, B, if the collateral is being administered by a personal representative of a decedent, no, I am not dead. You're not registered. They're not administering a dead man's property. I'm lost beyond the sea, but I've come back. And I've put a claim into the proper magistrate, as far as I can see. So, according to the Cestic KV Act of 1666, I ought to be able to claim my estate, which is what I'm trying to do. So, again, it's actually Section Article 9, but because it's a Michigan statute, they put 444. See, the thing about the Uniform Commercial Code is this is the common law. It's the same everywhere. What you're dealing with in your local courts, that's local law. That's like, the town squire law. But it's not the common law of the kingdom. It's more like just local law. And we need to get out of that and get into the common law of the kingdom, I believe. Anyways, that's what I did. And, now the Attorney General is I gave him power of attorney to represent me in matters of taxes and debts. So we'll see what he has to say next week. Okay, so Okay, so all I did is I made the state of Michigan, right? That's the name of the Constitution. Found its address in the Dunn system. I found the headquarters, but you might be able to use a branch because notice to agents, notice to principal, right? If you can't find a headquarters. I did it as an organization because I have an EIN number and I'm doing everything as a business, right? I want same species dealing with same species. And so since the state of Michigan is a artificial entity, well, so is Robert Allen Retluski as an organization. It's artificial. But I'm its owner, right? I represent it. And I made it my ID, but well, we should look at that. They got one definition here for where is that? For the debt. Indication of collateral, right? A financing statement sufficiently indicates the collateral that it covers if the financing statement provides one of the following: a description of the collateral pursuant to Section 9108, and an indication that the financing statement covers all assets or all personal property, right? Either or. So you could just say, this financing statement covers all assets or all personal property. You know, looking at it now, I could have just said that, but that isn't quite what I said. I tied it to my driver's to my state ID number. Because they say in the instructions that you don't have to use any personal identification numbers, right? But when I was doing this, so I'm going to tie it to something. I'll make it that one. And while I don't have the exact words they said, there's other places in that I just believe I've said enough. And, you know, if they want me to change it, well, I'll do it later. But right now, they've already agreed, or they haven't disagreed, that they're my debtor. And the treasurer has made the Department of the Attorney General my representative for all debts and, yeah, for matters of debts and taxes under my EIN number, right? Not under my Social Security number. That would be that letter there. You know, that's it as of the 18th, and we'll see what next week brings. Okay, y'all have a great day. More coming soon, I'm sure. See you.